everyone. Welcome back to the Talk of Fame podcast with Kylie Montigney. And today's guest on the podcast is very exciting because we are joined by an expert in network marketing and a former basketball player, Jay Warren. Thanks so much for coming on the podcast, Jay. I'm so excited to have you on.
Well, thanks for having me. I appreciate it. I mean, it's a pleasure and honor to be on here. So thank you.
Thank you so much. And how did you kind of start out as a basketball player and also being an expert in network marketing? Because of course, those two things are very opposite in terms of professionally and everything. So how did you kind of start out with those two things?
With basketball, I guess I decided to become a pro. I would say right in the middle. I said middle, but probably my junior, senior year. I was let me give this pro thing a shot. And so I went to a lot of camps and stuff like that. And then just, network with people, which, kind of bring me to the network marketing thing. That's kind of how I got into network marketing. It's just, it's similar in a way where, it's team building activities. So once you're building a business or you're building a network marketing business, it's team building. So yes, you start a business by yourself, for yourself, but not by yourself. So there's a lot of people when you start, working together and networking, and you see that, there's a lot of team building going on. So it's not really that far. It's not as different as a lot of people think.
What did you end up getting drafted, or did you just play for our college and then end up switching over to network marketing?
So I played college, and I did not get drafted. I always have the joke that the reason why I didn't get drafted because I graduated in 2003, and that's the debatable the first, second, third best class ever. That's with LeBron James, Dwayne Wade, Chris Bosh, Carmelo Anthony. So I always joke that I was probably not going to get picked, but I ended up playing overseas. So I went to, countries in Latin America, South America. I just kept going east and ended up playing 13 years overseas. So.
Ooh, sweet. Was it different from basketball down there overseas, different from the US basketball and how it's played? Because I know with different countries, especially in the East, they kind of sometimes play a little bit differently than how we do it in the US.
Yeah, it's definitely taught differently. If you look at basketball now, especially in the NBA, the world has caught up with us as far as, I mean, we probably still have most athletic players in the world, but as far as talent, the talent is right there. So, and you can see that when, we play, in the Olympics or the World Games, the World Cup, Basketball World Cup. You can always see that the world has caught up with the U.S. So there's a lot of people who don't want to admit it, but if you pay attention, then you can see that the world has caught up with the U.S. in basketball.
I feel with everything going on, I feel especially with the players we have now, Kyrie Irving, Kevin Durant, LeBron James, and every player we have, especially nowadays, especially LeBron with being as old as he is and playing for about especially say he got drafted in 2003 and now 2023 he's been playing for about 20 years now and played for about 4 different teams. And if you see the way when he started out and how it changed over the duration of 20 years, you can see comparison from the way the game played 2003 to now 2023 20 years later.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. And credit to LeBron to be able to evolve with the game because, the game, the way it's played now, is definitely not the game it was played when he got drafted. And, I mean, it's fun. If you're a basketball fan, it's fun to watch. If you are, there's a lot of old school guys who are just stuck no, this is the way you play basketball, or this is basketball. It's the same thing an interview, a podcast. People weren't having podcasts back in the day. You listen to the radio. What I mean? So just there's an evolution of way to, communicate and get information and content out there. So same thing with basketball. There's been an evolution of the game, and there's a lot of people who haven't accepted it, and there's people who have accepted it and been able to thrive. And, LeBron James is, he's one of those guys.
He really is. And In terms of like network marketing, like what's kind of like your go-to like strategy for it? Like do you have kind of like a go-to strategy or do you kind of like go to different ones for depending on the person?
So yeah, no, the strategy in network marketing, it's very simple. It's you just talk to people. And you talk to people just to see where they're at in life, with their business. And one of the things that the strategy that I use, I just ask if they're open to taking a look. So a lot of network marketers, they just want to get people in their business. Hey, you're gonna be a great fit on my team. You could do this on my team. You do that on my team. And I don't take that approach. I don't take that strategy. I just want to see if they are open to taking a look. If they are, great. If not, it's okay. But it doesn't mean unless they're like really negative to me and really like I don't like their energy, then I'll just address. I'll come back to them. A month later, 3 months later, 6 months later, especially when you start getting results and it's getting rolling. You just come back and be like, hey, this is, I've helped this person get, extra $1,000 a month. You sure you don't want to take a look, or I got, 4 people on my team making $5,000 a month. You sure you don't want to take a look? So, it just, you just ask to see if people are open to taking a look at what it is that you're doing. And then that's just been my strategy. So I don't,
Mm-hmm.
I'm not trying to hard sell anybody or convince anybody that network marketing is the best business out there. I just ask them if they're going to open to take a look.
Mm-hmm. Like has that strategy like worked for you once you started it, or it's kind of like it has like oh it works the one day then doesn't work the other day type of thing?
No, it's just like it's I would say in the beginning when I started my network marketing career, like I would listen to, my upline and people who were just like, hey, just get in front of a presentation, just get in front of, we'll hard close them. And the energy and the vibe that I got from that, it wasn't authentic because I don't want to, like me, I wasn't big on making people or pushing people into a business or pushing something they didn't want to do because what ends up happening, and I've seen this in my career, what ends up happening is that they're going to end up quitting anyway because they don't want to do it. So
Yeah.
that's why I always ask to see if they're open. And even if they fall off in the business, 3 months, 6 months, then you can help them, especially when they're on the team. There's strategies that help them, get them back on course and get them. It's not like I said, like a forced sales strategy, but it's a way that you can communicate with them to get them rolling. Even if they don't get up to a quick start.
Mm-hmm. Like especially with this generation, like a lot of people, even before they even start, like to quit things before they even try it. And that's like growing up, especially in the 21st century, like for me, like I was like, okay, well, before I start it, I'm not gonna do it, even though this person asked me to do it, type of thing. And
Yeah.
like with especially network strategy and everything involved with it, it can be like at first very difficult and like trying to learn all aspects of one possible thing like network marketing. It can be like, okay, well, what is network marketing at first? You know what I mean? But if, like people are wondering, like, what is network marketing? Like, how would you like you explain it?
So, network marketing, it's simple. So the way I would explain it, it is, it's a community that you're building with like-minded people that want to build a business. And if you make a sale and they stay on as a member, then you get residual income for basically the rest of your life. So you're building a team. So it's not just your efforts; it's your team's effort. So a lot of people, think that I got to do this, blah blah blah. And I'm not saying there isn't work to be done. You do have to do a lot of work
Mm-hmm.
to get it up and going. I mean, that's just with any business, and that's with just work in general. Like if
Yeah.
if you got a gym membership, yeah, and you're like, well, I haven't lost any weight. Well, have you went to the gym? Have you actually did the exercises? So
Mm-hmm.
it's the same thing in business and the same thing in network marketing. Like there's work to be done, but the only difference is that you are getting paid off other people's efforts on your team. While you're building, while they're building, and then once you have established that, then you can help. Then you're searching for leaders. Now you're searching for because there's some people who are just going to stay customers. You'll have you can have, thousands of, hundreds of thousands of customers, but then you're looking for the leaders on your team to help them build, because there's leaders who want to help other leaders. So you start searching out for leaders, within your organization, and then you help them to get to their next level. But that's basically what network marketing is. Is you make a sale once and you get paid off not just your efforts but your team's efforts for basically forever.
Like what I like what you said before is that like especially with network marketing and everything involved with it, like there's always have to be work to be done. And it does is not network marketing, but like any work in general. Like it wasn't saying you're in podcasting or playing basketball or trying to make it to the pros, for example. Like there's work that you have to live up to being a pro. Like LeBron James didn't go up to being a pros and being as good as he is without practice. Like I think you practice like multiple times a day, or like depending on, I know with every basketball player is different, but like with him, like he's not as good as he is right now without practice since he like
Absolutely.
started out when he was a little kid, or I don't know how old he started, but I know he started when he was a kid. But
Yeah.
it's like no matter like if what business or what you're doing with, or like kind of what career field you're going, or you're an athlete like baseball, basketball, soccer, or football, like there's always work to be in to live up to that goal and expectation do you want to live and stuff. Because you're not gonna be good in a day or be a pro in a day. Like that's not possible unless like you work hard for it.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. And I think that there's an idea, especially with media now, that you can be a pro in a day because you can edit it that way.
Yeah. Yeah,
But
true.
in in reality, obviously, it's I mean, I think Kobe's the one that said it. It's like, you just get better, every single day, and over time, yeah, and I'm not talking time like 2 months, 3 months, 4 months. Over time, 5 years, 7 years, 8 years, 9 period. That's when you start looking at the body of work. So and so if you're going with that mindset, then you're going to be a lot more successful than just like if you're network marketing trying to get rich quick, or if you're trying to become a pro in anything, a pro podcaster, a pro entrepreneur, a pro businessman, a pro basketball, like whatever pro you're trying to be, like it doesn't happen overnight. You just
Mhm.
have to get better every single day. You just look to get better every single day, but you do have to be immersed in your industry. You got to understand what's going on. So you were talking about the LeBron James example. Like it's just not him training. There's studies or stuff online where he spends, $1.5 million on his body.
Mhm.
Um, so that's just not just training. That's nutrition. That's so he can get proper sleep. That's so he can get recovery. I mean, like there's all the stuff that he's spending is because it has been enabled him to play 20 years in the NBA, and I mean, which is amazing. Like
Mhm.
there's people who break down, in their, early 30s, 30,
Yeah.
34, 35, and they're like, oh, my body won't take it anymore. Like LeBron James is what, 38, he's about to be 40.
Yeah.
He's like to play another, like a Tom Brady, play another
Yeah.
3 or 4 or 5 years. It's
Mhm.
amazing.
Like I honestly won't be surprised if Tom Brady comes out another retirement again, like before the season starts, like you did last year when you retired, and next like a month later you retire. So I wouldn't be surprised if LeBron James end up quitting for a year then come back like Tom Brady did.
Yeah, well, we'll see. I know that the word on the street, through media, is that he wants to play with his son. So we're
Mhm.
back and watch. We'll see.
Yeah, like because I saw like his son committed to USC. So who knows, maybe like the next 4 years to get drafted, or maybe earlier, depending on like the NBA if he's allowed to get drafted. Because some players might get drafted sometimes earlier, but it's not like who knows, he might last another at least 4 years. So
Yeah,
let's hope he at least gets to play with his son, or even maybe against his son. Who knows?
yeah, yeah.
But like, how did you
Fun to
kind of like
watch.
build like your knowledge to help other people in networking?
So it's just through basic training. So how I help build is just I train them. So I train them in a way. I train online and offline tactics and strategies, and see what works best for them. So there, maybe people who can communicate well through online. and there's some people who are older who refuse to go online,
Yep.
but they want to, yeah, I mean, yeah, you experienced that too. Like they refuse to
Mhm.
go online. They probably never listen to a podcast, right?
Yeah.
But they believe in that quote unquote old school strategy. So you just teach them the offline strategies to help them build their business. So there's strategies in both aspects, but you just you not only just train them, you have to get them around other people and other, create that community, create that training where up they're seeing results within other people, and then they start having that belief in themselves that, hey, like, if she can do it, I can do it, or if he can do it,
Mhm.
I can do it. So
Yeah, like I like what you said because like even though like when some people see on social media like oh this person got this opportunity or like there's growing the platform I got famous off of one video and like how can I get famous off of one video and that is really all dedication. I know like what a lot of people like old school people they're like oh I can't go on social media like Zoom like we are doing right now because like
yeah,
growing up, like a lot of our elders, I'm sure like it's for you the same as well, but like our families really didn't grow up with social media like me and you have kind of and stuff like so like
absolutely.
it's pretty new to basically not only us as um Gen Z, but it's like it's also very new to people that are our elders and our families. Because of course, like sometimes, especially during a pandemic, I would literally go on Zoom call with my aunt, some of my families that I live close to, to literally teach them how to do Zoom and other do things like because sometimes like when especially during the pandemic, like they didn't know how to like go on Zoom meets because they're so used to going to things in person that like they're like, what's the point of Zoom? Like, why do we need to go on Zoom? But then like that's what really pandemic started because like everything was on Zoom or even Google Meet or on FaceTime. Like not everything was virtual until we went to pandemic in March 2020.
Absolutely, yeah. And the thing is, you're saying all that, and all you have to do is like, hey, click this link, and they would struggle just clicking the link. He's like, I created everything, just click the link and get on. And they're like, what link are you talking about? So yes, yeah, it's with that, the generation, above us. I don't know if you say above since they're older or below since they're older. I don't know, but the generation before us, I would say
Yeah.
they struggle with even I mean I think if you walk them through it a couple times then they're cool, but yeah, like I said, they would rather have a conversation like this in person rather than click a link and get on Zoom. But yeah,
Mhm.
you're right, 2020 changed everything.
I know. Like, do you do like things in person or do you just do it all like on virtual?
I do both, and because it's going back to what you said, it's part of the strategy because there are some people who like still like the face to face. Me personally, I like doing Zooms and I like doing online stuff because I can get through things a lot faster.
Yeah.
I don't want to drive. I don't want to drive. 3 hours around town in all these meetings when I can get in front of a camera and then talk to somebody or send somebody a link, get them on the phone, and then see if they're open to starting and signing up or open to be a part of business or not. I can do that, within an hour. I can go through, 50 people,
Hmm.
yeah, because it's a lot faster for me. But I know there's not a lot of people who don't like doing that. They like to do the one-on-one and stuff like that. So the way I would leverage that is if they go do the one-on-one, then they can just get me on the phone or they can FaceTime me and then I can answer any objections that they have. So like that's what I said. I try to learn as much as possible so I can train, people on my team to do the exact same thing.
Like for me, like I do both in person and virtual interviews. Like from like I started a different series a couple weeks ago where I interview people in my area, but it's like for me, I feel like interviews online are more easier and faster so you can get more things done. I felt like even though I love doing in-person interviews and basically having that in person, face-to-face connection type of thing. But sometimes like it take like the time you get to the place where you're doing an interview and basically like coming back and doing something else or like an interview or something like whatever work you have to do, whatever you have going on that day. This saves up like it takes up a lot of your time going there. Let's just say 20 minutes and doing an interview for a half hour, then drive back another 20 minutes. And like
Yeah.
with virtual, like you only let's just say we're on a Zoom meeting for a half hour. Like once you get done, like I can just go on to my Gmail and answer emails with how many emails I have, or like it's much more faster like to get things done if you're doing it virtually rather than in person interviews.
Absolutely, absolutely. And that's the thing. And so with that being said, it's easier to teach that too. So after you do it, then you can turn around and teach that person how to do it so they can leverage their time because yes, you like you're saying, like I mean, some people do like it. So I'm not gonna knock anybody who does, likes to do the one-on-ones, drive 30 minutes here, drive 30 minutes there. I won't ever knock that. The thing is like, especially in the business and the game and network marketing, like I always teach, I always talk about in teaching duplication. So what is it that I'm doing that you can do, that you can teach? So it leverages your time. So you're not spending, 3 or 4 hours trying to close one person. You can, go through, like I said, 50 people in an hour, close one or two, three, four, well, however many that number is. And then you can go through another 50 the next hour if you want and do the exact same thing. So it just, but it's all about teaching duplication. You want the person who you are speaking with to be able, they're watching you because people are watching you anyways. People are watching you regardless. So you
Mm-hmm.
want them to watch you, see what it is that you're doing. And if they watch you and they see like, oh, I can do that, you'll have a higher chance of signing them up.
Exactly. And like, was it kind of like a challenge for you to go from like a basketball player into helping people in networking marketing? Like, was it kind of a challenge to go from one thing to another?
In the beginning, yes, because I didn't know while I was playing that I was running a business, so to speak. Because like when you're a basketball player, you're still an employee. But like when you are traveling and going to, like you gotta, find your next job or find your next contract, so to speak, then you end up finding out that you're more of a business person than an employee. Yes, you're working for, a club team or organization or all that stuff. However, like I would say halfway in my career, that's that's what I was thinking like, hold on, wait, like, yes, I may be an employee, but like I'm running a business. So the skills that you pick up or that I picked up, I can speak for myself, I won't speak for any other pros out there, but the skills that you pick up during that time, it helps you translate and helps that transition when you start running, a business. So once you start thinking like, okay, I'm running a business over here, in my professional stuff, I just use the same tools, the same knowledge I learned over here, bring it over here to the business world, and it's the exact same thing.
Oh, it is the exact same thing in terms of like traveling and moving all over, like times like a job type of thing.
Well, it's more not. Well, it can be like, but what I mean is in a way where, like the daily activities you do every day to prepare for a game, practicing a game is the same daily stuff that you prepare in business. So the stuff that you're doing to prepare, the stuff that you're doing in practice to prepare for a game, is the same stuff that you're doing. So like, the training that I teach is when you do that training, it's the same thing that you go out there when you're trying to sponsor and recruit people into your business. So you learn these sales methods, and you practice communicating with, other people. And then when you practice that, then you put it into the real life, the real world. And then when you bring those people back into the training, then they say like, oh, this is the way how you build it. This is the way what you do. This is how you answer these objections. This is how, so now you have a community of people who think alike, who are working alike, and then they go off and they're bringing their network. And does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, like that made it more times better because like in terms of like let's just say like I don't know, like some like challenges in some of like training, like and like because I know like with like going from one area to another, it can be very difficult, like in terms of like going from like a basketball player to basically networking. Even though you travel a lot, like even both areas is basically the same thing, like with terms of traveling, but then like you're from the basketball player's perspective, like you just like you're traveling, like playing basketball and all these things every single day. But when you're networking, you're just doing basically research and learning and then teaching other people, you
Well,
know?
yeah, so when you're and so in the basketball aspect, you are networking because that's how you're finding your other jobs. You see what I'm saying? That's how you're getting your other contracts.
Yeah.
So after you play games, you're talking to the coaches, you're talking to GMs, you're talking to other players. Because it's not guaranteed that that team is going to bring you back. I mean, you see that with I was saying this to was it my nephew? It was my nephew or his friend, whatever. Like, the Lucas of the world, the LeBron James of the world, the Steph Currys of the world. Like those are the 1%ers. Like those they have a lot more say so than say who's in LA, like an Austin Reed or an Alex Caruso or Bruce Brown. Like these guys, even though they're probably the top 5% in the basketball space, top 5-4%, they don't have a lot of say so like a LeBron James or so. There are different levels to that. So you got to understand that like you know if you want to take control of your career, like obviously network marketing, you can do that. It's harder like in like if you're working for like Microsoft or Apple or something like that. Like like when you're an employee, it's a lot harder to kind of take control of your career like that. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes total sense. And like, what are like
No,
some
I know. I said, I was here and there, so I just want to make sure that it made sense. I was
yeah,
trying to
it's
overhear.
I
Yeah,
like literally like I'm like so desperate in learning that's like whatever people say about network marketing, like I'm like, please explain as much as you can. Like I'll take any knowledge you
yeah.
have. Because I'm
Okay.
like, because I'm like, for me, I love networking. So I'm like, as much more I learn, the more experience I get. You know what I mean?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. And I think that's, because there's two parts in network marketing. So there's the networking part where, you just go out and talk to people, have conversations with people. Like I said, see where they are in their lives, see if they're open. And then there's a marketing part where you're marketing to a specific audience, and that will be a higher conversion because you're talking to people who already are looking, or talking to people who are already learning how want to know how to build. So you market to a certain audience, and that's when your conversions will go higher. But you network with everyone because you never know, well, by talking to people, you never know who it is that you're going to meet.
Exactly. And like, where are some ways like you train people in this area? Is there like any specific things you start with, or is there like different things you teach depending on a person?
So yeah, so I mean, I created a training video. It's basically the steps that you need to get started. I usually once they're in, then I send them the video and like here are the steps to get started because when somebody's investing, we're trying to make sure they get their investment back as quick as possible. But we usually have a training video that teaches them like, hey, here are the steps to get started. But there's also people who don't sign up in my network marketing business, and I send them to another place on how they build a business online. So I have two avenues where I can help people, and either send them to like a training video that I created, or another video that a community that I'm a part of that can help them build their business as well.
Ooh, that sounds interesting though. Like what in case like they like don't want like they can like learn before the business before they even start to make sure it's like fit for them, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. I always,
And
I always, I always the thing is like as much as I always go through, the tricks and, or whatever you want to say to, get them to sign up. But like at the end of the day, all I'm doing is trying to help them build their business.
mm,
And, people will feel that. Like even if they don't sign up with me, Like my goal is to help them get to their goals.
That's all like that's the part of our work is that like we're helping other people succeed when like other people can't, you know what I mean? It's like it was like when we start out, we're in the same position as them trying to learn, and then like once we get the experience, we try to help them as well, you know? So it's like they will kind of get to experience what we did in the same perspective.
Absolutely. Yep.
And like, what is some advice for like basketball players or people that are kind of looking like to expand like their network marketing? And that's the last thing I have for you, by the way.
Repeat the question real quick. I'm sorry.
Like, what is some advice for like basketball players or people looking to expand their network marketing?
So the advice I always give is like, like look for, training, look for a community, and look for the culture because and look for that that's going to be best fit for you because the training has to be good that's going to help you get from point A to point B and then point B to point C all the way to where you're trying to get to meet your goals, the community and the people that you're around. So there's a lot of people in the industry who are in it but they still have a negative vibe around it. So you don't want to be around people who are complaining about it's like, oh, well, he didn't sign up with me, or oh, she didn't sign up with me. She went over there, that company. She went over there. I was like, no, it's just like, root for them because, you want the, like if you're really, uh, I would say a positive business owner, like you root for them to be successful because the thing is like, that's what, like when you're networking, you never know. Like that's what I'm saying, it may come back around where, that an opportunity may open up for yourself and your family or whatever. So, that community and that culture and that environment matters, So, and that's what I'm saying. That's the last thing is the culture is like, like there's that Jim Rohn quote that, you're the five people that you hang out with. So if you're creating a culture with that low vibration and people who don't think big, like a lot of people want to be the smartest person in the room. Like I never want to be the smartest person in the room, and I'm not, I always want to be, I always like want to go out and be the next, I want to see who's doing better than me, who's doing more. Ideas that I have never thought of that they're thinking about in their community, not just talking about it, but they're executing on it because it gives me bigger ideas to how I can help other people. So you get knowledge from the people who have done it. You train on it, you learn it, and then you pass it to people. And be like, hey, this person's doing it. I'm doing it. I'm learning it. Let's get as many people plugged in as possible to learn what it is that whoever wants to think bigger because there's some people who don't want to think bigger as well. So that's what I'm saying. I don't try to push them into anything. I just whenever they're ready, that's when I bring them over.
That is so well said. And like I can't thank you enough for coming on the podcast. I'm so happy like me and you got able to connect. And thank you if Victor, if you're watching this, thank you for connecting us. And I
Shout out
really
to Victor.
appreciate you taking the time. And thank you everyone for listening. Make sure to check Jay out. And like where can people find you on social media or check out your business if they're looking to connect?
So askjwarren.com is my website. I have a lot of offers and training on there. That's my blog post and my website. And then if you want to connect with me on social media, just go to Ask Jay Warren. I'm on Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, Twitter. So you just reach out to me and I'll answer whatever.
Perfect. So everyone go check them out. And thank you everyone for listening. Have a great rest of your day. And thank you, Jay, for coming on. I appreciate it so much.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Of course. Have a great rest of your day, Jay.
You too. Bye.